Hello everyone and welcome to a new PHP programming tutorial. So in the previous set of videos we explored the language in terms of printing, defining variables, conditions, loops and functions, arrays and the classes. Now we are going to start with the fun part finally. Uh, so we will start exploring how PHP works to generate dynamic websites and how it could receive data and send back replies. Okay, so now today we will look into what is called forms. Okay, so first let's create a simple file. So this is um, a new PHP file. There's going to be 10 forms.php. Okay, the file name doesn't have to start with a number. I did this just to make things easier, right? So let me go here, click in here on forms. So far nothing. Now, one of the things that you need or you notice in browsing websites that you usually you send a username and password, and this information is sent back to the server. So how do you do that? Well, there are two steps. The first step is allowing the web page to send information, right? And the second step is to process that information. So let's have a look at this. So first, I will do the following. I will write just HTML, right? So this is gonna be a body tag. I didn't write PHP as you can see here, slash body. Okay, so this is the body of the HTML and nothing will happen here, you just see this. Okay, next I will create what is called a form. Okay, and I should close this with a form. Okay, so far so good. If I refresh again, nothing. Now I will add a label. Okay, so here I will say I won't make it username password, but like a calculator, you send two numbers and you get the result. So first number, and yeah, this is first number, and I will follow this with input. Okay, if I remember this right, it should be something like that. And now if I refresh, I should get something like this, right? So this is the first number, and then I will move to a new line. This is gonna be second number, and input again, and BR, we save, we refresh. So first number, the second number, maybe put double BR so that they're not too close together. And finally we have submit, right? So if we refresh, oops, not submit, what's it? I think button slash, right? Was submit or button? Oh, seems that I even forget how HTML works. Okay, so far we've got these fields and this one doesn't have a name. So I could change this a little bit. So I'll say, what was it? Text or value? Text equal add something like this, and I refresh here, No, it's not text, it's value. Yeah, you can see I always forget this one. That was, oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. I think it need two tags here, slash button, something like this. Is it possible? Gosh, I'm forgetting a lot. Add, refresh. Okay, there you go. So you have the first number, the second number, and add. And what happens if you click here, something should happen. Basically, this page is being sent to the uh, to the server. Okay. Now, in order for the information to be received on the server, these should have names. So, if you look at the input, this is the input. I have to write the following. I would say name N1. I am calling this input box N1, and PHP is going to recognize this as N1, right? And also I'm gonna say name equal N2, right? So we have two text fields or input. The first one is called N1, the second one is called N2, right? So if we refresh and submit, nothing will happen. Now I am gonna do the following. I will add PHP here. Okay, so this one is HTML, this one is PHP. So when I press the button, this form is being submitted, right? So here one and two, and you can see the data being submitted to the same page. So now I'm gonna check that this data exists. Okay, so first I'm gonna get the information being submitted to the server. So how do you get that? Well, PHP provide an array to store the information. So I'm gonna say first if is set and $_ get of N1, right, and is set $_ get of N2. So what does this mean? If the value of 1 is being passed to the server and the value of N2 is being passed to the server, at that time I could do something here, right? So I'm gonna say N1, this is the first variable, equals get of N1 semicolon, and I'll do the same thing to get the second variable. So this is N1, this is N2. I got these two variables. I'm gonna add them. So sum equals N1 plus N2. I just added these two, and now I'm gonna display a message to the end user. So I'm gonna say echo h1 h1. Okay, okay, so it will be something like this. $N1. So this is gonna display a heading, so the text will be large, we could see it. I want to display the first number plus the second number equals, and I should display the result. This is sum. Okay, so It is very straightforward, I suppose. And now let us refresh. So you can see 1 plus 2, these are the parameters, equal 3. 33, 11. And as you can see here, it's working totally fine. So we just created a very simple calculator. As you can see here, we created these fields, right? Now, what happens if we just go, remove these parameters? Nothing happens, right? So why? Because here we are checking for the parameters. Did we receive them by submitting the form, or did the user click the add button on the form? If so, these parameters will be provided and this code will run and we will get the result. Otherwise, this code will not be executed. However, the rest of the HTML will be rendered. Very straightforward stuff here. Sorry. Now, let us just continue and improve things a little bit. So I'm gonna add text here and put numbers here. I'm gonna add them and I'm getting an error. Why? Because I'm passing a string and a number and the code in PHP is trying to add them together. That is not possible. These numbers must be what? Must be a numeric, or these variables must be numeric. So how do we improve this code? We will use if statement, certainly. So if is numeric, there you go, and 1, and also is numeric and 2. In that case, we will find the sum and display the result. Very straightforward. And if we refresh this one, now nothing happens. Let's add some text here. Let's add number here. Doesn't work. However, if we add 2 numbers, works perfectly fine, no problem, as you can see here. So this is one way, and by the way, this is the best way to validate things on the server. You could actually here in the input also add few checks. I think type equal, if I'm not mistaken, this is gonna be number, right? I think you will have to check HTML. Let me see. So you can see it doesn't accept. I'm pressing buttons on the keyboard. The only one it accepts E, because E is used for entering scientific numbers. But basically now I can only enter numbers. Okay, so I cannot do, let me just, let me show you. I'm copying this one. If I want to paste, it doesn't accept, right? So, and this is simply because I am saying that the type of input box here is what? It is a number, right? So this way you could force the user to enter the correct information. However, it is possible to make mistakes. This is why you should check on the server as well. For example, you could go and make an inspect here, right? So I could double click on this one, press enter, and now I will write number and write text. Now it writes text here, right? I changed the source code of the page right away and I could submit. But because I am checking and validating the data here, such error doesn't happen. This is why it is a very good idea to make validation in the browser and extra validation on the server, because it is always possible for the end user to modify the source of the page and cause problems. And if you assume that the source on the web page will not be modified, you are very mistaken. always try to think about how the end user might break the program, and you try to fix it if possible. Okay, so now let me how do you close this one? Close this. Okay, yeah. So now we created a very simple calculator. Now the question is, well, what if I don't want these numbers to appear up here? Well, uh, when you are submitting a form, there are two ways the information is being passed. The first method is the get method, which you have been we have been trying here. Okay, so you see all the parameters, and also anyone who watches over your shoulder could see the URL and see the parameters being passed, right? And this is obvious to the user. And basically, if the form contains many fields, the URL will be very complicated, right? So another way is to use the the post method. So here in the form tag, if you come here, there is something called method, okay? And this could be get. If you don't mention anything, it is get, right? However, now we are gonna change this to post, okay? So I am going to run this and click, right? Oh, sorry, let me just remove this link here. Fine. So I am adding, but nothing is happening. And the reason you see that there is nothing here. The reason for this is very simple. This is the post method. And I am checking what? I am checking the get array provided by PHP. If I am sending information via post, I should check the post array. There is another array that is storing the post data. So here you write it like this. Okay. There you go. So now if I press 1, 2, 3, add, you see that there is nothing here, right? However, the data got passed to the server and the server made the processing. Now you might be wondering, well, I don't always need that. Well, yes, but let me show you the following case which could cause a problem. So let us return this to get, right? And let us put this as get also, right? 1, 2, go. There you go. So you can see here. Now what if you, for example, you are not making a calculator? Let's assume you have a login screen, right? So here you are entering username and a password, and I think this need to be password if I'm not mistaken. I think, yeah, you don't have to specify type if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let's save, and yes. So now let's refresh. No, it's obviously I'm wrong. Input name. Yeah, as you can see, I totally forgot HTML. Type equal password. Yeah. So now if I write here no one can see what I'm writing, right? So let's say that the username is Smith and the password is 123. I'm gonna press add. You can see this is the username and the password is being displayed for everyone to see, regardless of the logic of this program. Now everyone can see your password, right? So it is not feasible. So if you are making a login screen, you should use post, right? And this means that this is going to be post, and this is going to be post, and this is going to be post, and this is going to be post. There you go. We save. Now if I want to let's go back, sorry. Okay, so Smith 123 and add. So regardless, now we pass the information, the password doesn't appear in the URL. So very simple thing to take care of and pay attention to. Okay, so let me go back to the calculator example here. Let us make this go back to the way it was, right? So here, type first name, yeah, right? So here, type equal number, and this is gonna be type equal number, right? Okay, so far this is very straightforward. As you can see, we are filling the fields, the value is being passed to the same form. Now there is something very important to understand. I didn't trace the code, so I didn't have a chance to check it. So what happens is that before the data is being sent to the user to render the page, this code get executed always. So it will check these parameters, and if none of them is being there, this one's being rendered later, right? And when you submit, this same page will be called again, right? So let us just debug and see how this works. So basically listen for X debug, and now I'll go back here. So nothing, I will just press enter just to show you what's happening. So now I press first of all, let me show you what is in get. So $get add to watch. So the size of the get array is 0. It means there is nothing. There is no n1 and there is no n2. So this if statement, this is false and this is false, and the logic between them is and. So false and false, the two conditions fails, and there is an and between them, it all fails. So this if statement, the body of the if statement will not get executed. So it finishes the code or the PHP part, and now what's going to happen is going to render the rest of the page. Okay, and this is what we get. Now if I press if I type something here and click add, you can see the code is here, right? So the execution to the same page, as we can see here, and the get array now have two elements, n1 and n2, right? So if we run, we are getting the values, both numeric. We do the operation and then we render things as requested, right? So yeah, just wanted to trace things with you guys to make sure that you understand what is happening. So I suppose in the next video we will make things a little bit more interesting. We will separate this part of validation, the input, and processing it from the rendering of the page, they don't have to be in the same file. So we will see how to do that, right? Yeah. So I hope you find this useful. Yeah. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.